All right, we are bringing on our next caller, Melody, from Florida. Melody, welcome to Stay Paid. Thank you so much for calling in.
Hi, thank you. How are you guys?
We are doing fantastic, Melody. So I would love to hear, Melody, your question, like how can we help you grow your business?
Well, I've been a realtor for 22 years and I try to stay consistent, but sometimes I just, I get off. Life happens. So I guess my question is, what does a typical day look like for a successful realtor to you?
That is the $1,000,000 question. I don't think there is a typical day, but tell me a little bit about where are you at so far this year in GCI? Like, what's your volume? What's the GCI so far this year?
So right now I'm at 2 million. I do
Okay.
if I can do a contract once a month, I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm a very good lister. I do a lot of listings.
Okay. So you're about 2 million in volume. So you think you'll end the year around 4, 5 million?
Yes, that's usually where I am, around 4.
Okay. 4 or 5 million. What's your goal? Do you have a target that you want to try to hit this year?
It's just about the same. If I do like 80, make 80,000. If I do 5 million.
Is that what you did last year and the year before?
Last year was 65.
Okay. Because I was just trying to get to the reason why I was asking these questions, give me context to help, give you the, I guess, best advice I can. And then also, trying to find the motivation. Like if you're consistently doing 4 to 5 million and you're worried about your calendar, but you're happy with the one a day, then why does it matter? Right. Because the why drives the action. So I guess, can you tell me, like, why are you feeling like you need to change your schedule or you're maybe missing out on something?
I want to retire. I'm 69.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so 5 years from now, I want to be able to retire.
Okay. Love it. So we found them. Okay. So I would love to take this because we have the master of content and social on this. So I would love, Eric, for you to give your take on what a good week in posting of content or social would look like for Melody. And it doesn't just have to be about social content, it can be other stuff. And then I can give you, Melody, my take on from like the real estate whole perspective that we do at Acre Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, for a week of content for a real estate agent, this is a prescription. 3 to 5 posts per week on Instagram and Facebook, and you could just cross promote those. Maybe one long form YouTube video a week or a month on YouTube. Are you doing any long form right now?
I'm not doing YouTube right now.
Okay. YouTube is the ultimate hack where you don't need that many subscribers. You don't need that many followers. It's all very title and thumbnail based where people are actually searching in your market. Will their search, what part of Florida are you in?
Ormond Beach, Daytona Beach, St. Augustine, that area, East Coast.
Okay, where I'm sure people are actually searching on YouTube about that. So that's how you can get discovered. So let's just call it one YouTube video per month, 3 to 5 posts per week, and then one newsletter every 2 weeks, I think is the ultimate way to stay in front of your database where it doesn't feel like this enormous amount of pressure like you're a media company pumping out too much content.
Okay. On the YouTube, what would you suggest doing?
I would suggest your first step on YouTube is you go to agents in other markets like San Diego or California. I could just give you the names right now. There's a guy named Dan Parker in San Diego. I would look at his top 10 performing YouTube videos and use those exact titles for your market. So a lot of these agents are kind of copycat channels, whether it's Ken Pozek in Orlando or it's Jeremy Knight in Austin. There's Trey Serrano in San Antonio. Those are 4 right there. Where if you just go on their go on their YouTube channels, copy paste their titles, throw it into ChatGPT and say, make these titles except for in my market. Then it's going to flip the titles, and then you basically have the framework for your script right there. So if it's 5 reasons you shouldn't move to Daytona, but in that video, you're actually giving positive reasons. Sometimes if you start with a negative, you actually get more clicks to it. Then you kind of already have your script and everything available. And you could also have ChatGPT write those scripts for you. So you say, write me a script about the 5 reasons I shouldn't move to Daytona, but make it actually positive as to why they should. And then it's going to provide all this information for you. So the first place I would start is at least consume some agent content on YouTube. So you kind of get an idea of how long should the video be? What should the hook look like? What should the framework be like? And then how do I position my channel to basically look exactly like that, but in my market?
Love it.
Thank you.
Absolute gold. So when it comes to like the agent schedule, like I joked in the beginning, I don't think there is a magic formula. I'll tell you what we do at Acre Brothers, and I'll kind of give you a take of, we have a top producer I've been coaching for the past 2 years. Last year, he closed about 80 deals. And then I have another producer on the team. So Tim, who we've actually had, he'd be a great episode for you to listen to, Melanie.
Tim Bushnell.
Tim Bushnell. We kind of talk about his early days, right? So he does about 80 deals a year. This year, he might do actually a little bit more. And then I have another agent on the team, Noah, who will do probably 24 deals this year, maybe 24 to 30, somewhere in that range, deals. What we do for them is, it starts in the morning, right? So every morning I'm texting Tim at 5 a.m. Are you up? Now, this is just our team. Like, you don't have to do this, but I'm just giving you the concept of what we do. But it's like every morning, 5 a.m., it's a text. In the morning, Tim and I and Noah, we're big, your body, mind, and spirit. So it's like, okay, this is where you feed your mind and spirit. And this is where you make sure you start off the morning, winning the morning from a body perspective. So like exercising. So, I'm a gym person. I go to the gym. Tim's not. He does like a walk and stretching. And then I'm always challenging him. Hey, what book are you reading right now? And then we're people of faith. So it's like the Bible. Hey, did you spend time in the Bible today? And it's like we focus in really early, because if you can win that first morning, as they say, you can win the day. Then when Tim and them get to the office, it's somewhere between 7:30 and 8 a.m. And the most important thing in the morning is to eat the frog. Eating the frog is all about doing the hardest task first. What is the hardest task in real estate? It is prospecting. And nobody wants to prospect. So Noah's goal this week is 150 calls a day. So 150 calls. And that's going to be, some of those will be sphere follow-up calls, right? And touch base, probably usually 20 to maybe 50 a day at most, more around the 20 to your sphere. The majority of those calls are to cold, anonymous type leads, whether they came into our Facebook ad that came in, or circle prospecting is really good right now. So we have a whole podcast on circle prospecting that you can go listen to. And we teach you exactly how we do it, where we buy the data from, the script that we're using, how we're doing the script, the offer, all that stuff. But we'll spend majority, that 150 calls can take anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours. And the one thing I skip before we get to the calls is we always look at the market first thing in the morning. Because if you get in at 7:30, you're not really calling people at 7:30. Right. You usually start around 8:30, somewhere in that. So we're looking at the market. And from the market perspective, we learned this from Sean Carpenter. I would challenge you, look at the market from two perspectives, one for education and one for the ability to reach out to people you know. So one time, look at your MLS and go, okay, what came on the market? What sold? What do I need to know about, right, for my current buyers and stuff like that, sellers? But then look at it through the lens of your sphere and go, okay, what happened in these areas that I could text somebody in my sphere about today that, hey, Melody, I was looking and I saw that right up the road from you, 1100 First Avenue sold for this price. What do you think of that? Did you see that? And now it gives you an easy outreach to your sphere based upon activity that's happening in the market. And that was a tip we learned on this podcast from Sean Carpenter. So I forget what episode that is, but you can go listen to how he does that. But you basically win the morning through exercise and feeding your spirit and mind, right? Then you get into the office, you educate yourself on the market and do outreach based upon the market. Then you move into prospecting for 2 to 3 hours. Once you get out of prospecting, then you are with your clients, essentially. You are doing appointments. You are, doing, whether it's a listing appointment, showing buyers around. You're doing kind of those ins and outs of the business. And then usually they come back and at the end of the day, make more calls at the end of the day. And those calls usually are follow-up calls. We use FUB as a CRM. So Follow-Up Boss as a CRM. They're usually around their task that are set. So follow-up calls to the things that have happened throughout the day. That is what a normal day looks like for them. The only thing that throws it is when Eric, your prospect, calls you and he wants to go see a property at 9, right?
Right.
So the commitment is not the necessarily time block, even though we try to stick to the calendar, but it just has not played out in practicality. The commitment is the conversations. And we know we can't control the conversations, but we can control the activity. So that's why Noah's trying to do 150 dials. So it's like if I read you a text message, like this was Tim this morning. This will give you an idea of Tuesday goals. 1 post, 3 stories, 30 tasks, 5 combos, 1 appointment. Ratify bundle lots for Bear Brothers. Follow up with the Bowmans on potential offer. That's literally the text Tim sent me this morning when he got to the office. That is every day I will get a text like that from Tim. So I would just encourage you, think about that for your business and going, hey, Eric just gave you a great roadmap for your social media and what you need to do there. Then apply, okay, how many combos can I have a day in real estate? They say if you can have 20 combos a day in real estate, you will be a top producer. And I've seen that played out to be true. We never usually make it to 20. Some days we will. But you see Tim's goal today is just have 5 combos. So you need that, and that's what I would encourage you to do. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, it does. Thank you.
Awesome. Melody, that's fantastic. Hey, now go implement and go from 4 million to 8 million. It's very doable. You have so much more in the tank. I can see it. You just need to be challenged to get to the next level, because I can tell you've been cruising at 4 million and you're not even thinking about it really. Not saying you're not working hard, but if I'm reading you correct, you can go to 8 million, but you have this big goal in 5 years or so to retire. You've got to get real intentional of what that looks like income wise. We had a caller come in, I forget, a couple call-in episodes ago, asking us about retirement. And I challenged them, write a letter to yourself of where you want to be. You got to get real specific about the goal if you want to hit the goal. You can't hit a target you don't know exists. You got to get real specific. So what income do you want to be making? And how is that income going to be? Do you want to put your license in referral status and be able to make 1%, right, off of the transaction? Like, get real intentional and then really focus the next 5 years. You'll knock it out of the park, because 99% of people, they know what to do. They just don't do it. Right. So be the 1% that actually does it, and you'll see your life change. Love it. Melody, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.